Okay. Oh, goodness. Right. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
This is definitely live programming.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
No takes, no producer behind a
Cut.
thing somewhere.
Take two.
That's right. No take twos, no nothing. Here we go. Good morning, everybody. We're here. Sorry, we're a little bit later than normal. Trying to get started at 7:30, but we were just talking out a little bit more of what we want to cover this week. So we're going to let people have a couple more moments to find out where we are.
I'm going to show you this just because I think it's really cool. So this is the Holloman family crest.
Yeah.
And it was so neat because I had a friend in Guatemala that put stuff like that on cups. Mm-hmm. And I sent him the logo and he produced like a whole dozen of these mugs.
And so this is the last remaining one.
It's the last remaining one. They've lasted for like 10 years.
Yeah, they've gone a long time.
So,
they've lasted a long time. So.
Yeah, that was fun.
I like all that heraldry stuff. I think we're missing. That's a whole other conversation, you know. Yeah. That because again, the reason I say that is somebody created that, and way back in our chain, and it means all kinds of stuff, right? So if you don't know what yours is, just make one because that's all your ancestor did.
Yeah, exactly. What do we want it to mean?
Yeah, what do you want it to mean? What does it represent? Because those were all like the core values of what family stood for. But anyway, just let us know if you're with us. Excuse me, this morning. Man, I don't know why. We started. The frog showed up.
From last night.
That's right, showed up. But this morning and this week, we're going to start again a conversation. It kind of goes back to, and you can put some links in there with some maybe affiliation links or whatever. Okay. This comes from a book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, which is an old classic written by a man by the name of Stephen Covey.
Right.
And stuff. So many of you have probably heard of it. If not, probably most of you have probably read it in some way. But we were talking about this morning, there's a quadrant there, and he's got a little diagram in his book, and he calls it the quadrants of life. And then, and again, maybe if you can find a little pic of it, you can throw it up there. But it's kind of like if you're looking at the little plus sign, upper left corner is quadrant 1. Then to the right of it's quadrant 2, then down below is 3, and down below is 4.
Good job explaining that. Yeah.
And so quadrant 1, he talks about, is the urgent and the important.
Yes. We all have that in our life.
Yeah, and we'll circle back around to it. And then quadrant 2 is the not urgent but important.
Right. Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And then on the bottom, how did it go? It's quadrant 3 is not important but urgent.
Right.
And then quadrant 4 was neither urgent nor important.
Like watching TV.
Yeah, well, he actually, in the book, he talks about it, if I remember, because he made an Andy Griffith reference, or somebody did, and me hearing this over the years, he said, quadrant 4 is you watching that episode of Andy Griffith for the 5,000th time. You know what I mean? That's definitely not important nor
not
urgent. So that's quadrant 4, And then he goes on in the book, and I'm not going to try to unpack the whole quadrant. No. You can read that in the book, and it's really worth reading.
It is.
It's one of the granddaddies of self-improvement or self-help or whatever you want to call that. Which, by the way,
personal growth.
You're
welcome.
Much better said. Personal growth type stuff, and it's worth those books. We should read those books often. All kinds of those kind of books. You should have a regular. Again, so a little bit of a pause here. Brad's opinion, to do with what you wish. You could probably put it on your tomatoes and grow something with it. But we should all read the Bible.
Yes.
I would say we'd all agree with that. So there should be regular, I don't even want to say daily because I don't even do daily necessarily.
But regular.
Bible reading. I think there should be regular personal growth reading. I don't do it every day, but you should do that. She does.
Regular.
It's a regular. Regular personal growth reading.
Yeah.
There should be regular, my opinion, historical reading, where you're learning about history, because the classic phrase, if you don't know your history, you'll be doomed to repeat it.
Yeah.
And stuff.
So true.
And then there should be regular fiction reading. I call it brain candy,
Yes.
fun books, right?
Yes, brain
so
candy.
just if you ever wonder, that's kind of how I govern my reading. And now reading for me, a lot of reading looks like audiobooks. I'm actually becoming a huge fan of audiobooks because of my life, where
Driving
it is
a
right
lot,
now.
right?
Driving a lot. Obviously not good to read while you drive.
Wife would be very upset.
Yeah, so would boss because it's his car. And so, so just regular Bible reading, regular personal growth, self-improvement, self-help, whatever you want to call it, regular historical reading, biographies, all that kind of stuff.
They inspire you.
They so inspire you, and then regular fictional reading from good fiction authors that just turn a phrase well, because that just gives you more words and expands you. So anyway, so there's that. So back to what we're saying. In this book we've all read, and if you haven't read it, I'd encourage you to read it, about 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He's in this quadrant. But what we want to talk about this week is, and he talks about most of us, and I would dare say if we review our life, most of us live in quadrant 1.
Right.
Where most of our daily activities are spent chasing the important and the urgent. Again, as I'm talking,
putting out fires.
Well, put like so today, just very coincidental, we didn't plan this, happens to be the deadline for U.S. taxes is today. So there's a lot of people running around chasing the urgent and the important because they're trying to get that return in before midnight or whatever it is.
For all of those of you that are going to do the replay tomorrow because you were trying to get the taxes done, you should put that was me.
So, so we all probably spend most of our life chasing the urgent and the important. But as Stephen says, but that is truly not the way to live an effective life. To live, not even just, I want to say, the life of your dreams, because that's overrated. Because you may have bad dreams. but to live an effective life, we cannot spend the majority of our time chasing the urgent and the important. Or we're running around putting out fires. We're running around, that's okay. We're running around putting out fires and chasing our tail, all the phrases we use.
Absolutely.
And he says the most effective life is spent living from quadrant 2. Correct. Which are the things that are truly important, but they will never
be urgent.
And the thing, and what we were talking about this morning is, and there's certain things that they'll never cross over. There are things that will never, ever be able to move from quadrant 2 into quadrant 1.
Right.
Because the moment they move, it changes. And again, and I'm just going to throw this out there because this is Selena's passion and world. A lot of that, you might say, is health.
Right, yeah.
Right? Again, we all know we should diet and exercise, or let's say it like this, we should have a healthy lifestyle, as they say. We should eat right. We should have movement in our body. We should do things like that and take care of ourselves. Well, the moment my health moves over into quadrant 1 from quadrant 2,
urgent.
It's typically a disease.
Too late.
And sometimes, but again, so there's certain things it moves over, and now it's no longer health.
Yes, it's survival.
It's survival.
It changes.
It changes.
The nature of it, right?
The nature of that thing changes. Right. Again, a good, strong marriage lives in quadrant 2. Right. The moment it moves over to quadrant 1, you're typically facing divorce. Right. Right. You're typically facing a disaster. Right. Or the same thing with parenting your children. Good parenting lives in quadrant 2.
That's right.
The moment it comes over into quadrant 1, it's typically, again, some kind of disaster, runaway child, rebellion, who knows, whatever, lost the heart of your child, severed relationship.
Going on with the relationship.
So now.
Because we didn't do the important things.
So we want to talk about that because I'm reading a book, and I want you to put this in there, and I'm not done with the book. A friend of mine just gave it to me. I'm really enjoying it. I need to, and help me while I'm saying this, I need to dedicate time to finish it for the sake of what
Yeah,
we're
it's a
talking
physical
about.
book, so he doesn't get to read
there
that
ain't
when
no
he's
audio.
driving.
So, well, actually, I might need to check. Maybe you can check on Audible.
Sure.
I mean, I got to throw these in there so I don't forget.
I'll have to watch the video with the list of things you're saying I need to do.
I know, but, well, this one's easy. It's called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry is the name of the book. And it's by a dude, I think his name is Comer. Something Comer. But anyway, but The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. But what I'm enjoying so far in the first few chapters of the book is this, not saying that because I know that does not tickle your personality fancies when we talk about the ruthless elimination of hurry. Because we always jokingly say Selena's favorite speed is 95 miles an hour with her hair on fire. And that's just the way she lives. She likes fast cars and I would say fast living, but that's not right. But
in a different way.
In a different way. But so I know when we say that, what the author is talking about, he's not talking about we sit around in a hammock and do nothing. Right. He's not talking about that your day isn't filled with activity. He's really, in his own way, talking about living from quadrant 2. It's defining those things that are important,
and doing
but
those
will
on purpose.
never be urgent.
Right.
And making sure those get the greater portion of our time, talent, treasure, attention, and those kind of things, and then not doing them in haste. Because it's kind of like, well, again, I'll pick on another funny, y'all all probably heard the term in, romantic, what is it called? Speed dating.
Oh my goodness.
Have you ever heard,
hilarious.
what was that movie we watched? Hitch. That's right. If you haven't seen a movie, Hitch is a great movie. And so there's this speed dating thing where they're speed dating. And if you've never heard of that before, the couples are all there and they get like 5 minutes with each other. And so they sit down at a table
2 minutes.
And they move on to the next person, move on to the next person. And it's called, here's the thing, that's the whole, you can never speed date.
Yeah.
Because good relationships live in quadrant 2.
Yes.
They just take time.
You take the time to prioritize it, right? Yes, absolutely.
So what I would like us to do, just with a few minutes, because about 3 minutes remaining for today's show, as we just opened up this. So let's think about in our lives, and here in the comments, if you would, and I want our times to be way more interactive. I don't want it just to be us talking. Is what are some of these things we can identify? What are the important things of life? The things that, again, proverbially, we're on our deathbed and we're saying, man, I wish I would have spent more time X, whatever X is. And let's begin to compile a list. Can we do that as an audience together?
Yes.
And compile a list of the things that we can all identify and say, these things are important, but they'll probably never be urgent.
Right.
What are those things? We've given a few of them, and let's please throw those back out there. But I'd love to just ask everyone that's out there, and please share this video out. I'd love to get as large a cumulative list as we could of the things that we would all agree on. Man, these things are so important to have an effective, fruitful, happy, if you will, joy-filled life. What are those things? But man, they'll never be urgent.
Right.
Because then I think if we can identify those, it then helps us know how to do things.
I'll just end with this example, okay? Ever since, ever since the children were very little, we made it a point not to eat around the television. We made it a point to eat at the table so that we could have in-depth conversations and just kind of keep a pulse on where everybody was at.
Yeah.
And so sitting at the table so that we can all eat a meal together. Now, when they were little, we were able to do that a lot more.
Yeah.
Now that they're a bit bigger, a lot of them are working or they have extra things to do after work for school.
Yeah, or activities,
etc. So it's gotten a little bit more challenging, but whoever is home, we eat at the table. We do not eat watching TV, and we don't,
Besides once a week when it's
once in
movie
a
night.
while. Right, exactly. I'm not saying this is like a religious thing. I'm just saying that overall, we have made it a priority. Make sure we eat around the table. Well, yesterday, this is funny. Yesterday, we had one that was wrapping up a video game. We had another one that was
Wrapping up some school.
Wrapping up some school. We had another one that was watching the other one play a video game. We had, and so literally it was Brad, myself, and one kid outside because it was a beautiful day eating dinner. And I said, I've already called them. Now they're older, so, but they're wrapping things up before they come to eat.
Yeah.
And it's like we had to sit back and go, it is still a priority for us to sit at the table together at the same time so that we can all eat and enjoy each other's company.
Yes.
And if you don't fight for it when it's inconvenient, right? If you don't, then it starts to lose its impetus. It starts to not be as important. It starts to lose its punch.
Yeah.
So that's one example. And why the table? Well, it's just a vehicle that makes it conducive for us to spend quality time where we can see each other and be able to have good in-depth conversation with our family.
And you just said something saying we'll maybe pick up on this tomorrow, because the things that are important but will never be urgent are always inconvenient.
It'd be easier to just run through the drive-thru and grab something and chuck it over your shoulder at the kids, and you're done, right?
We were talking about that before. I mean, as much as I love a good hamburger, right? A hamburger will never replace, right, an 18-hour roasted on the smoker piece of meat, brisket, pork shoulder, turkey, whatever it is. Yeah. Though there's just no replacement.
Right.
The reason why most people don't make better food is because it's really inconvenient.
Yes.
It really is.
Yeah.
But it's better food.
Yeah.
And those are those kind of things that are there that I love that. So we need to talk about that.
Okay.
Because you have to be willing to be inconvenienced. All right. So Holloman's.com, please check it out. We love you all so much. Thanks for being a part of our online community.
Yes.
Again, please share this out. Again, please add to our list that we requested. Please let us know if you're watching.
Yes,
and
that'd
stuff.
be awesome.
Please let us know if there's a better time.
Yes.
Like if some of you guys would like to watch live, but this is just an inconvenient time. If you would let us know if there's a better time, we would definitely look at our schedule to see if we could, like our evenings better or what's better for y'all. So we're here to serve you guys. So we'll talk to you tomorrow. And until then, have a great day.